Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We're going to have a great show for you today. Welcome aboard. Bridge MCP calling in from or checking in from Binghamton, New York, upstate New York. We have Bruce Pollard in from Kingwood, Texas. We also have Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. We have ABQ, El Senor Rutnin from Brooklyn, New York, who's not feeling so well today. Hope you get better, my brother. You know we always love having your presence in our chat, given that you really do a whole lot of keeping up. Guy Maywood from Long Beach, California is in the house. Mike Cisak from Missouri is in the house. And, of course, we have Yvette Avery Herod, our beautiful UPS warrior. Thank you so kindly for being here. Lee Grant in from Montgomery County. Everybody's checking in. Great to see everybody here. Let's see what we got up in the screen before we get to videos and everything else. But if you follow the directives, Trump's director was guilty too. Again, are you talking about Mallorca? Oh, no. No. I mean, I haven't read the documents or anything like that. But, I mean, you have to look at laws and how to implement it and on whose behalf they're doing the laws. So, I mean, I can imagine. I'd be curious to know where you got your information from, my dear brother Bruce. Did my good friend kind of give you the cooked information from, the sources? Let me hear what you got to say about that. Alistair Water is in the house. Alistair is from Conroe, Texas. And I think I've got everybody accounted for. Anyway, folks, thank you so kindly for being here. Well, I tell you what. Something great happened last night in not only, everybody's playing up what they heard happened in the 3rd district in New York, right? Because again, what we show is the only polls that really matter are the polls that people go and vote. And every time over the last several years, every time people have gone to the polls, Democrats and Democratic policy has come out ahead. It's a statement of fact. My New York, my old district, yep. And it wasn't even close. I repeat, it wasn't even close. As soon as that occurred, I sent out one of my tweets, and I'm trying to see if I can find the tweet that I sent out last night because I felt kind of good because it felt like people are doing a little bit more of their own thinking, right? And not completely falling for the crap that so many have fallen for too long. So anyway, it turns out that the Democrat won the election he won the election over there. And I'm trying to find a tweet that I sent out, but I can't seem to find the tweet that I sent out. So anyhow, that's what's important is that Democrats won over a nonsensical message by somebody who couldn't even think in some coherent fashion. All right, E2247 is in the house. Eric Hayes is also in the house. Welcome aboard. Impeach Mayorkas, who will forever have the tag. Yep, just like Trump will forever have the tag of the only president in this country that has been impeached, not once, but twice, with 91 felony charges against him. So, if you want to talk about notoriety, an impeachment based on false grounds is one thing, but conviction is the other. And while it is unlikely Mayorkas will be convicted of anything, I don't know if the same can apply to Donald Trump. But let me just tell you, many lawyers, Bruce, I don't know where you're getting your sources, my brother, but several lawyers, conservative lawyers, came out and said that these are policy differences, not crimes. Policy differences, not crimes. How something is executed, not crimes. So impeachable, which means what is the word that they use? High crimes and misdemeanors? I don't think so. I absolutely don't think so. And Eric Hayes, I don't even know if you could enumerate what is the reason and what law it is that that Mayorkas should be removed for. But again, when you're parroting what comes from the right, it's easy to just use a whole lot of catchphrases. Mike Cisak says Trump was impeached on false grounds 3 times. Really? Guess what? Just like we're seeing a massacre in Israel, a genocide in Israel, our eyes are seeing it. Our eyes saw and our ears heard what Donald Trump did. But anyway, it wasn't only New York that was successful in defending us against tyranny, but it was also in Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, there's a thin majority for the House, and the Pennsylvania election went to the Democrats as well. Let's see. Let me see if I can tell you what the results are in the Pennsylvania race. Let's see, Pennsylvania election results. Let's see if I can pull it up. I didn't have the time to pull it up before, but the Democrats won Pennsylvania State House special results. It is Jim Prokopiak won with 67% of the votes. Since the Democrats captured the Pennsylvania House of Representatives in 2022, partisan control has hinged on a succession of special elections. Following the retirement of a Republican legislator on Friday, the Democrats have a 1-seat majority. A special session in Philadelphia suburbs to fill the seat of a Democratic lawmaker who resigned in December will determine whether that majority grows to 2 or whether the House is once again evenly split and the Democrat won. So there we go. All these polls that have been out there seem to have failed because people are getting their act together. All right, let's see what else we got here before I get to the videos. Anybody else has anything to say? Bruce, if you want to call in, to tell me why you believe Mayorkas did something wrong. 281-823-7747. 281-823-7747. Alistair says she's listening. I think that's all she'll be doing today. Bruce Pollard says, we know impeachment trials are subject to party votes. Kay Paxton. But the way I read it, the directive should have read by law to send them back immediately. Send whom back? Actually, it turns out that you can't do that. And why can't you do that? Because there are international laws that as a country we're a part of, that being that we're a part of that, it supersedes any law that we can create. We can't create a law that says we'll only accept asylum from X, Y, and Z country. We're a part of an international body. Again, that's the case. Mike Cisak says New York 3rd election Democrat only won due to weather. Oh my God. So he got several thousand votes more because of weather. Keep believing that. I want you to keep believing that, Cisak. All of you keep believing that. All the special elections that we've had since the decision, the abortion decision, was because of weather, right? It's because of weather. So you keep believing that. You'll simply continue to lose. All right, that's all. But every single race, I don't think Pennsylvania was weather, right? Come on now. The Democrat got most of the votes early on through mail-in ballots should be illegal. Really? While the GOP usually vote on election day. All right, let me bust your bubble. Guess who won in the red area where people vote mostly on the day of? Guess what? He won also. So come, get your facts straight, buddy. Get your facts straight. He won the blue areas, 53 to I don't remember the exact number. So, that's not the case at all. Anyway. Before we get started on this, what I want to do yesterday, mail-in, what was it? It's funny how Trump has these people believing that somehow there's something wrong with mail-in votes, right? Of course, Trump voted that way. And of course, Colorado does it and it works out perfectly. Nobody complains. I believe Oregon does it as well. So I am not sure what we're talking about. But anyway, you may want to listen to our brother Charlie Dent. Okay? Listen to what Charlie Dent has to say, and then we'll take it on the other side. By now, everybody knows what Donald Trump did with regards to with Russia and NATO. Telling NATO, if you don't pay up your bills, we are going to, tell Russia, hey, invade if you want to do whatever the hell you want to do with Russia. But let's be clear here. Let's be clear. First of all, this guy was the president of the United States, and he speaks as if these countries have some due to pay. That's not how it works. The way NATO works is the deal is everybody should try to spend about 2% of their GDP on the military. And a lot of these countries weren't. And you know what? I don't blame them. 2%, not every country wants to be warmongering or unnecessarily so. And, in the case of the United States alone spends more on military than I think the next 9-10 countries in the world. Think about where that money could go. That could be money giving us a good educational system. That could be a money invested in people so that their lives in the future could be that much better. We could invest in people which grow and grow and grow instead of investing in bombs that die, create death, maim, kill, and destroy, right? But we have choices. And our government, led by the military-industrial complex, has us so scared that we think we have to spend this kind of money on military. The only country that does. We can blow the world up over and over and over again. But of course, Donald Trump, in showing his bravado, is going to go ahead and tell these guys, you don't pay up your bills, not to pay that they have to pay. It's that they have to spend 2% of their GDP. Then, hey, if Russia want to come in, fine. I mean, it's one of the most asinine moves one can take. Well, the one thing that you do know is that other Republicans, not the ones that are sycophants, or which are most of them now in the party, but others would come out and speak, and so did Charlie Dent. And when he made the case for Trump being a useful idiot of Putin, he did it clearly. I want you to listen to what he had to say, and then we'll go ahead and take it on the other side.
David Brooks of the New York Times wondered what happened to the soul of the GOP. Quote, this wasn't just about Republicans cynically bending their knee to Trump. Rather, I'm convinced that Trumpism now pervades the deepest recesses of their minds and governs their unconscious assumptions. Their fundamental mental instincts are no longer conservative, but Trumpian. Joining us now, former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent. So, Congressman, does that explain the reaction to Donald Trump telling Russia that they can do whatever they want to NATO allies?
Well, I do think David Brooks's comments are fair. They are fair. What's happened is that too many Republicans have embraced the isolationism, the nativism, the protectionism of Donald Trump. And it's really a major problem for this party. But what's even worse, I think, is that when Trump says these things about abandoning NATO and letting Russia walk in, he's advancing Russia's and China's foreign policy objectives. I mean, useful idiot, frankly, is too gentle a word to describe Donald Trump when he talks about Russia. So it's very sad to me to see too many members of my party in Congress embracing this very destructive and dangerous Trumpian isolationist view.
Charlie Dent is right. Later on in that interview, though, Charlie Dent said, it's a good thing that there are other Republicans, good Republicans like Mitch McConnell and others that are there to do the right thing. I don't know. Yes, we may get the Senate did by a larger margin than I thought. A lot of Republicans, pretty much about 10 or so, I believe. or was it 20? I don't quite remember how many did come across and voted for the bill. Not that I believe in the bill. For me, this is about concepts, not about that I believe in a warmongering bill, because technically speaking, that bill, I would simply had removed any money for Israel unless there's a ceasefire. I would also make sure that whatever monies we give to Taiwan had a specific way it needed to be spent. It's our money after all. And likewise, when it came to Ukraine, I would have made sure that, there are a lot of Ukrainians getting rich on the monies that we are sending to Ukraine. So no, look, there needs to be controls on these monies that we are giving freely to these other countries. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about promises made. We're talking about a United States policy. So let's be clear here. Trump, in effect, is, as Dent said, a useful idiot. Do you think it is somebody we're going to put into office again? Well, America will show its maturity in November. We'll see what happens. We sure hope that America shows its maturity in November, because the rest of the world is looking and watching, and the rest of the world wants to know if America, one of the reasons I like the idea of having BRICS and other polls, right? If one particular country, the people in that country get batshit crazy, what can happen is the other pole can take over. Let me give an example. Let's say Trump comes into power and Trump used the power of ACH, our financial system that moves money around. Let's say he starts to give Jamaica or Costa Rica or Panama or Guatemala, he freezes them out. And don't say the U.S. wouldn't do it, because they did it to us in Panama. In Panama, which used the Balboa is exactly equal to $1, they actually stopped allowing dollars in our country. And since the canal zone was in our country, dollars became a precious commodity, and people would trade dollars like they trade gold. That paper money was traded like gold, right? Because Bush 1 decided to cripple the Panamanian economy to try to force the people to oust General Manuel Antonio Noriega. And of course, people found ingenious ways to use monies in different ways. They created their own money. I was a sort of a barter system that was a bit more lenient than a barter system. But the fact is here that having one major monetary system meant that that one country that controls that system can hold you hostage. So I want other poles. I want other economic systems. I want other financial systems, so that if one holds you hostage, another one can likely be friendly to you. Right? So the reason I got into that again is based on, suppose we got another Trump. The rest of the world don't want to have to say, well, oh my God, we are dependent on it. Let me give another example. Look at what we did. And this wasn't Trump. It didn't even take Trump to do it. We decided that we're going to sanction Iran. If we want to sanction Iran, that's perfect. Stop Americans from doing business with Iran. And since that's your country and it's your money, you can stop all of that from occurring. But if Venezuela wants to buy a plane from Iran, you shouldn't be able to stop Venezuela. Now, you can say, well, Venezuela, if you buy that plane from Iran, we don't want you doing business with America anymore. Hey, you can do that. It's your country. But as far as you going in between those two countries to kidnap a plane or steal a plane because you don't like it, which is what we just did in Argentina. We went ahead and apparently a plane landed there, and Argentina helped us confiscate. Who are we to tell another country who they can do business with? Who are we? And that is the reason why I am all for a multipolar world. Not only a multipolar militarily, but a multipolar world economically. But let me give you another example. Let's say that I have, let's say that the United States decided to excommunicate an American citizen, and you're crippled from making money here, and you find some way to make money on the outside. Well, what can happen then? You can be held crippled. No, we need multipolar economic systems, multipolar. And just like we are the ones that always talk about, we want competition. We want competition. Competition is a good thing, right? That's what we preach. Not a unipolar system that has complete and entire control of your economic system. All right. Hey says, guess politics done right with Egberto Willis think it's okay to confiscate Russian oligarch wealth. No, I don't. I just made my case. What I do think is that I think that Ukraine, who is fighting against Russia, and Russia haven't blown up a whole lot of stuff in Ukraine, I do think Ukraine can put in the request that says they blew up this building, this building, this building. It costs X amount of dollars. We are making claim on Russia for blowing this up. And I think the Palestinians have the same right with Israel. Israel went in and went and blew up buildings all around. I think Palestinians should come back and give Israel a bill. I think they should give them a bill for blowing stuff up that they didn't build, blow stuff up they didn't own, and give them a bill. And hold that against their credit. Hey. All right. Bruce Pollard says, I don't have a full access, but so far as I read it matches what I assume. His directive should have read, send them back to Mexico. Actually, it says discretion. Discretion. That's what in that particular directive, it says discretion. And, I don't see how you can argue with that, especially given international law, right? Think about it. The people coming over here, once they go ahead and say the word asylum, they are supposed to be placed in front of a judge. So anything before that is moot, because international law says if somebody declares asylum, it is a responsibility of that government to determine if they qualify for that asylum or not. So I don't care what Congress says with respect to, if somebody come to your border or whatever. If you want to follow international law, you have to follow international law, which in the case of borders and asylum supersedes any law Congress could make. Otherwise, you're in obstruction with your treaty. In fact, when Congress are making laws, they should make it based on treaties they have signed nationally and internationally. Where nobody complain. When where corporations say, if this country goes ahead and passes a law that affects my profitability, I can sue that country to recover the money that I lost based on a law you passed in your country. I forgot what kind of laws you call that in the treaties we've signed, but it was inside of what was that treaty that we had that we fought against, TPP. It's in all these different treaties. In fact, look up Guatemala and what they're doing in creating little corporate run regions in Guatemala where the people, where for all practical purposes, people have lost their sovereignty. These are important concepts, people. Very important concepts of what we do. But we selectively like to enforce laws. We don't really follow laws in this country. We would sign a treaty. After we sign a treaty, if something changes, we just blow up that treaty. Ask the indigenous people at the Black Rock Mountains. Is it the Black Rock Mountains or the Black something mountains? We signed a treaty. Right? We signed the treaty. And after we signed that treaty, they find gold. And we said, oops, our people would go in there and the military tries to stop at first, try to enforce a treaty. They found enough gold. They said, to hell with the treaty. Americans, come on in. Take the golds that rightfully belong to the indigenous people. We sign a treaty, we sign treaty after treaty, and we never follow them. But we get mad when others don't follow treaties. I mean, come on, let's be fair, folks. Persuasive Barrier is in the house. How you doing, Persuasive Barrier? Great to see you here. All right, I got another video for you. This one here is CNN's Jake Tapper. I love what he had to say. Check this out. We'll take it on the other side. All right, the big news last week was that Biden was found that there should be no charges made on Biden for the classified documents that he had in his home. Why? Because just like former Vice President Pence, he gave complete support. He self-reported that he had these classified documents, and he gave carte blanche to the investigators to come in and go through his entire house at will. And they found that he did nothing to try to hide that he had the documents or that it was there for some particular reason. So that is a real story. Just like Mike Pence, when Mike Pence was exonerated, that was a story. He was exonerated. It was over. But the prosecutor decided to put some extraneous information in the report, just like they did back in the day of Trump in the opposite regards, where the report was damning against Trump, but the beginning of the report, the title page of the report, they made it seem as if, oh, there was nothing here to look at. The opposite occurred with Biden. Biden was, they put in that report that Biden was somehow confused. And even if we try to take him to trial, he would just come across as a sympathetic, forgetful old man. I'm paraphrasing, of course. But none of that belonged in the document. It turns out that the guy was exonerated. End of story. Just like it was end of story for Pence. But no, that wasn't enough. And the media jumped on it, and the media decided to work on this memory thing with the president and also his forgetfulness or him stating different things that weren't exactly so, etc. They made a big issue out of it, but somehow they don't make that issue out of the stupidity out of Trump's mouth, which is a constancy. Even while Trump was president, he said nonsensical things, using lasers inserted into your body, putting bleach inside of your body. I mean, ridiculous statements that this guy always made because of his lack of any modicum of intellect, right? Okay. I was happy to see Jake Tapper and how Jake Tapper contrasted what Biden had to say with the inept person that Donald Trump is. And, recently at KPFT, we had a caller that called in and said, stop talking about Trump. By talking about Trump, you are going to make people think about it and he'll win. To my thing is like, no, you can't stop talking about Trump. Because again, not talking about Trump normalizes him. Because he continues to talk to his people, and to those who don't know how inept he is or the constancy of his ineptness, they may give him a pass. So no, we have to keep talking about the orange man, because the orange man is a clear and present danger. And if people are not reminded of this, it will be an issue. So check out what Tapper did, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Now, this special counsel report happened to also land the same week that President Biden told stories about conversations he had with European leaders, conversations in 2021, but he referred to leaders who had died years before, such as French President Francois Mitterrand, who died in 1996. So imagine, if you will, being a Democratic official worried about having to address these issues, and then on Saturday, a gift to you. This one from former President Donald Trump at 77, just over 3 years younger than Biden at 81. Trump, who has battled confusion issues of his own in recent months, calling Nancy Pelosi Nikki Haley, confusing the prime minister of Hungary with the president of Turkey, and warning that Joe Biden wants to get us all into World War II. I think he meant 3. And of course, beyond those moments of confusion are moments such as this yesterday, where he suggested he encouraged Putin to attack NATO allies at a time when NATO allies are terrified about Putin doing such a thing.
Presidents of a big country stood up and said, well, sir, if we don't pay and we're attacked by Russia, will you protect us? I said, you didn't pay? You're delinquent? He said, yes, let's say that happened. No, I would not protect you. In fact, I would encourage them to do whatever the hell they want. You got to pay.
Encourage Russia to do whatever the hell they want. And of course, also moments such as when he smears service members. Not the first time Mr. Trump has done such a thing. Here he is making insinuations about former Governor Haley and her husband, Major Michael Haley, who is a commissioned officer in the South Carolina Army National Guard, currently deployed to Africa.
Where's her husband? Oh, he's away. He's away. What happened to her husband? What happened to her husband? Where is he? He's gone.
He's serving his country, Mr. Trump. And then, of course, the lies. The lies and the lies and the lies. Here he is talking about his classified documents case.
They didn't see the ones we had. We had them locked up, and we had Secret Service all the time because I was president all the time.
What? Here are the documents. Decidedly not locked up at Mar-a-Lago. Here they are in a ballroom. Here they are in a bathroom. And this was after his presidency, not during. Welcome to the next 9 months, if not longer. And we are only getting started.
Jake Tapper nails it. Jake Tapper makes it clear that this guy not only say ridiculously silly things, but he also says malicious things. And for all practical purposes, he's also un-American. So again, just take a look at what he had to say. Listen to what the guy has to say. Anybody who supports this person of sound mind is suspect.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news.
Absolutely suspect. Absolutely suspect. Anyway, folks, anybody want to call in and make any statements? 281-823-7747. Again, that is 281-823-7747. Thank you, Alistair Water. You're correct. It is Black Hills, not Black Rock. Black Rock was where we had that march to stop the oil pipeline. Black Hills is in where? It's in Montana or Dakota. I don't remember which one. Right where they took the land back from the indigenous people who owned it in the first place. Well, they don't have this stuff of ownership of land. Land is just land, and they're free to do whatever they want throughout the land. They use it appropriately. All right, let's go ahead and talk to our one and only Alistair Water. How you doing, Alistair? Talk to me, my dear friend. Alistair, you're on. It says. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, there you are.
Yes, talk to me.
Hey, forgive the even more extreme nasal sound. It's allergy season, and the cedar is killing me. Anywho, I just wanted to, I'm not driving anymore. That's why I've also been engaged in the chat.
Great.
I just wanted to say that I think the time for bipartisan meeting and trying to come together bipartisanly, the current environment in politics, whether it's state level or federal level, at least here in Texas, state level, I think those days are long gone for now. We might be able to come back to them, but right now it's not an option to be bipartisan. And so I think it's time to throw the gloves off and get aligned with your ideals as far as being progressive or the time is gone for us to be bipartisan. It's gone. And not saying that as a defeatist. I'm just saying if you want to get shit done, pardon my language, I don't know if I can say that.
You can say that online. Yeah, you can say that.
Oh,
I just have to have to take it out of the podcast, but it's okay.
Okay, sorry to give you a little extra work, brother. I just think it's crazy, and we gotta. Yeah, the gloves are off. We gotta take the gloves off.
Let me give another
good old fashioned hockey throwdown.
Let me give you another context, okay? Because let me first say, I do not change my ideology because my ideology is what most Americans say that they want. Okay,
I'm not saying to change your ideology.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
My ideology is what's absolute. In other words, most Americans need health care, all the things that we support as progressives. Whether the right wingers, the neoliberals, or whatever they say, it really doesn't matter because we know that even they are looking for these same things. Everything else is political and by party. And one of the reasons I can take the stances that I take is no matter what I hear from. Let's listen. Let's look at some of the stuff that that Eric puts in the chat. Right, and Eric is my friend, but Eric cannot live by the crazy, silly, nonsensical, unintellectual things he gets from right-wing media. He couldn't possibly live in a world that provide those things. So that when I watch or listen to that, I simply let that flow because I am not trying to be bipartisan at all. I am trying to get the policies that most Americans say that they want effected. Now, here's where the catch comes in, sis. This is where the catch comes in. In order to effectuate that, those on the right who are simply wrong and also of the frame of mind willfully ignorant, I still need them, right? I still need them to, even if they don't agree with me, to go ahead and say, well, to get past this impasse, we let it go and see what happens. And if you take a look at what happens with, let's give an example of how the squad has operated, right? If you listen to Ocasio-Cortez support for Biden, including a great interview that she did last night on CNN, you see the maturity of a progressive member of the squad. She came out wholeheartedly defending that neoliberal, our current president, because she understood she infected him like a virus to effect the policies that needed to be effected. Let's give an example. Nowhere in no time with a Biden of the past supported a $2 or $3 trillion budget that had the amount of social programs that we got during the pandemic. But what the squad and other progressives were able to do is tilt the scales by using a neoliberal to effect it. Let's go to Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders, as left wing as I am, I'm a bit more left than Bernie Sanders. But Bernie Sanders jumped on the bandwagon again. He couldn't get certain things done, but he could use the president as his tool to effect the changes necessary to be effected. And hear me. When Biden the reason the fight is on so hard on Biden now is they know that Biden can be the conduit to a more progressive America, even as he himself is a neoliberal. And that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if you follow what I'm saying, sis?
I do follow. I think I
Go
don't
ahead.
know. I think
No. Say it. You say it.
The time to be nice. The time to be nice is gone, and it's not about taking the higher road anymore.
No. I don't. I agree.
to get to what we need.
Look, I agree with you. It's not about
that, taking the higher road is kind of shooting ourselves in the foot over and over and over again.
I agree.
And
I agree. I agree.
I do see the game of politics needing to continue, but I want different. I want better for Americans. And I don't think we're going to get that by continuing to play this game of politics. And I think we just need to change the rules, so to speak.
Let me give an example about playing nice.
Flip the board game up on its end and say, nope, these are the rules.
Hear me on this one, and let me see. And this is a conversation I want everybody to kind of follow, because I think you bring up a very important subject. Not because you are civil and pleasant mean that you're just plain nice. Let me give an example of that as well. I am for whenever we take over in 2024 to go ahead and expand the Supreme Court. All right, but I'm going to do it with a smile.
Yeah.
Right. I am in for taxing the holy crap out of wealth. Because first of all, I think billionaires, all their money has been ill-gotten, and I can prove that mathematically. And I mean, with a smile, I will say we are going to tax the money that you've stolen back, illegally stolen. I'm going to tax it back. I don't have to go out there. Look, we need the people on the streets raising hell and screaming. We need that. That is what give people the passion. But when it comes to the legislation or the ones that are pushing the ideas, etc., I think my stance as far as I'm going to be civil as I tell you, the laws that I am going to be pushing to pass is going to take back what was stolen, period. No two ways about it. And I don't have to scream and shout to say that. They scream and shout to be wrong. I don't have to scream and shout to say that. So I don't think there is.
We just have to point out their lies. And
exactly.
We can do it whispering instead of screaming and shouting.
Exactly. And our
energy.
Yeah. Put that screaming into getting other people to go out there and vote. Like I don't know, did you listen to my interview with brother Reverend Barber?
Yesterday was amazing. Yes. And I wholeheartedly agree that the people, disenfranchised Americans tend to be on the lower socioeconomic class. I wholeheartedly agree with him on that.
And I learned something from him. I learned actively.
Yes.
Yeah, I learned a whole lot from him yesterday. And what I learned from him yesterday is, we always talk about people voting against their own interests. I took that sort of a law of the land that these poor people, whether they're in Appalachia and all of that, they vote against their own interests. Brother
they
Barber.
Don't vote.
Right. There you go, Alistair.
Because they're not represented. They're not heard.
Right.
And I go into communities. I lived for years in a community of financially disadvantaged individuals and families. And I'm not going to say that I have been wealthy or poor my whole life or any of that. But what I am going to say is where I grew up, how I grew up, you vote because that is your voice. And when people, it hurts my heart when people say my voice doesn't matter. Well, no, we have to make it matter.
Exactly.
We have to make it matter. Like Reverend Barber said yesterday,
Exactly.
Just like how he said it.
You nailed it. So
when the higher ups or whatever says, no, we're not going to address these issues because we got to keep them down. But there is a political uprising coming up. I have seen such growth in my community on people that have that don't have the financial wherewithal to have a even existing lifestyle. A lot of people have to rely on others to exist.
All of us.
And that's a system. And I engage regularly with individuals that are financially downtrodden for whatever reason, and tell them their voice does matter, and show them numbers and in places that, you know, when people rise up and poor people rise up and they do get hurt and the other entities try to silence them, but they get louder.
Alistair, well, I tell you what, I think I think I ran out of time from playing the third tape, but I really enjoyed
sorry.
No, hold on. I just like I tell my KPFT audience, this is y'all's show, and anybody call in and want to make a comment, that is more, to me, that has more value than anything else. So thank you for calling in, sis. All right.
I got one more thing to say about the weather and why the.
Hold on one second. Hold on a second. Hello, who am I speaking to?
Binghamton, New York.
Binghamton, hold 1 second. Let me go ahead and get Alistair to say the one more thing that she wants to say. I'm going to try to figure out how to switch between calls, or maybe I'll just add it. No, don't call back. Actually, I think I found something else. I need both of you on. I think I can add. All right. Are you there, Alistair? Okay. Let's see. Who am I talking to right now?
You're talking to Breach MCP.
I'm talking to Breach MCP. Let me see. Stay with me, Breach, because I'm learning this thing here. Don't hang up. Let me go ahead and see if I can figure this out now that I have two people on at the same time. You're helping me here. Let's see. Let's go ahead and I'm going to put you on hold. And let's see what do I do from here now, and merge the calls. All right. I think calls are merged now. All right. Let's see if I have this. Can you hear me, Alistair?
I hear you.
I can hear Alistair.
All right. I figured it out.
Good job, brother. I gotta tell you though, with the Democrats won in New York because of the weather. Are you freaking kidding me?
I know, that's my old district, and I know what snow they got down there, and that didn't stop them.
Yeah, but seriously, no, that's just a whining, crying point. I guess us snowflakes can handle the weather better than the Republicans.
They can handle Barbie. I just wanted to call and tell it. I know, right? Eminem, Barbie, Taylor, they can't handle that. I just wanted to tell Egberto I just posted something I wanted him to read, if he can.
Oh, no. I tell you what, is that the one that says it's hard to keep using the term willful ignorance? Is that the one?
Yes.
All right. Well, both of you stay on air. Both of you stay on air. Let's read it together. Here we go. Egberto Willis, it is hard to keep using the term willful ignorance. I think there is a difference. Please read if you can. I will. Willful ignorance and self-deception. Whom do we blame more, the willfully ignorant or the self-deceived? Many of the things we believe about ourselves and our experiences turn out to be false. Sometimes this is due to innocent memory failures or to the lack of needed information. Suppose that Charles believes that he failed his biology test because the professor asked obscure and unambiguous questions. Charles believes this because he doesn't realize that he got the lowest score out of the 100 students who took the test, and that most people did quite well. If Charles had this information, he would realize, that he failed the test because he didn't study hard enough, or because he's not very good at biology. On the other hand, if Charles continues to believe that the test was unfair after seeing the grade distribution, he is either severely challenged in his capacity for rational calculations, or he is the perpetrator of willful ignorance. Right. Willful ignorance occurs When individuals realize at some level of consciousness that their beliefs are probably false, or when they refuse to attend to information that would establish their falsity. In contrast to this sort of willful ignorance, self-deception occurs when individuals believe false things with complete conviction. Consider a mother who truly believes that her sour-pussed baby is adorable. If you believe her visage challenged baby in a lineup with cute babies, she would think that hers was the cutest. For real. As another example, consider the sports fan who sees the opponent commit a foul in a crucial moment of a basketball game, when in reality it was a player on his own team, not the opponent, who committed the foul. Because this type of self-deception occurs on the perceptual level, the sports fan actually sees the opponent commit the foul, and no amount of replay or augmentation will convince him otherwise. Often, it is difficult to judge whether somebody is willfully ignorant or truly deluded. I'll tell you what, in our chat, I can identify which one of our people are willfully ignorant and which ones are actually truly deluded. I won't go into the specifics right now, but I think that's what you're getting at here.
Neither will I, but yes, that's where I'm going with this.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to realize the difference.
Right.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Right. And look, thank you for that. Where did you write that, or did you pick that up somewhere, Breach?
No, I took it from a link. I didn't post. I posted the comment twice, but you didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
Psychology Today. I have to go back and find it.
When you get a chance, can you send me that link? I would love to actually keep that in the future for a future blog that I write. I'd like to have that. That is
very awesome.
That is a very good.
Spot on.
Yeah, that was very good. But anyhow, folks.
All right.
Both
of you guys go. And glad you got the phones working.
Yeah, I think I figured out how to take 2 calls now. So I think it can be more than 2.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, I can do it.
Brother.
I can do it, sis. I can do it. All right, folks. Anybody can hang up and then we can close it up. Anyway, you said you had something else to say, Alistair.
Bye.
Oh,
bye,
Bridge. I said it. Bye, Bridge. I said it about the Republican loss in New York, blamed on the weather.
No.
Yeah.
It was a loss. The weather affected everybody the same.
Exactly.
And the other thing about mail-in votes, affect everybody the same. So if your party choose not to mail-in vote, that's your prerogative. And if you choose to walk in, that's your prerogative. But the fact of the matter, Alistair, is this. Most Americans want progressive values. It doesn't matter what anybody says. You offer them a progressive outcome or a right-wing outcome that's corporate-centric, they will always take they won't say they're progressives, but they will always take the progressive tenet.
And it's a shame that we have to present it in a way that you can't say this is what one party believes or what another party believes.
Right.
Without pushback.
But don't worry, we don't care here. We are civil here. We don't care. We're civil. We're just about telling the truth. Hey, Alistair, thank you. Let me go ahead and start shutting our baby down.
Yep. Have a good one, y'all. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Anyway, folks, thank you so kind. I'm. You know what? I'm glad that both Breach and Alistair called, because now I know how to connect several calls together. I mean, I'm going to have to learn how to say, hold on, Alistair, hold on, Breach, to control the conversation. But it's great. We can do it now. I learned how to do it. And by the way, I want to thank Bruce Pollard for being the person who suggested that I go ahead and reintegrate taking calls into our show. It makes it that much better. So thank you for all of that, guys. Anyway, folks, we got to get out of here. It's almost 4:00. I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to thank all of you for being a part of the program. Remember, this is your show. Tomorrow I'll play the Chuck Todd piece that I didn't get to play today because Alistair called and Bridge MCP called, which I love that they did. But I want to remind you that the program does need your support. And I want to, we're at a critical junction right now, and it is getting very, very tough. The support currently is not there as we are going to require it, and so I want to ask you so kindly to really support the program if you can. I would love people to start doing the newsletter, the subscription at the newsletter. That would help a lot. Or if you want to do the PayPal subscription or the Patreon subscription, you can find all of that at our donation links. Actually a link that has all the different options to support the program. You can find that at politicsdoneright.com/support. Look, we do things frugally. At some other time, I'm going to spend about 10 minutes to talk about my goal with the show and why we need external forces, all of you as individuals, to support on small levels so that I can afford to keep doing this. I'm going to sometime later give a frank discussion as to why we really, really need your support. But for now, please go to politicsdoneright.com/support. It has a lot of different ways in which you can support the program. And if you do so, I always try to offer perks for those who are supporting the program in some form, in some way. Even at KPFT, when people donate at KPFT, I get zero out of that. But I do things like I go ahead. Thank you very much, Persuasive Barrier. I am at KPFT. Whoever wants to go for coffee with Egberto, KPFT gets $250 for that. Not me. I don't get a penny of that. Now here in our Politics Done Right over at the PDR.net, this goes towards here. So what I want to ask is, whoever can support the program, go to politicsdoneright.com/support and support however you can. Also, there are many ways to support the program. A good way to support the program that feels like you're getting something back is if you support it via our newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's like a coffee a month, right? And that gives you access to read all of my books once you are a member of the Politics Done Right, of the Egberto Off the Record newsletter that I have on Substack. So if you go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter and become a subscriber, you don't only get my everybody gets my newsletter, right? But the perks that comes is you get all my books, etc. Online. So please consider supporting the program. We cannot keep doing this without your support. Anyway, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? What am I again? Bridge MCP. Thank you so kindly for your super chat. I got a chance to see it before I exited. Thank you so kindly for your super chat. Anyway, folks, my name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.